Hey, Mac.
Hey.
How are you? Good. I'm still processing today's Loki news.
Yeah, they really shook things up on us today.
Yeah, and then you have like what that means for us, what we're gonna do, the whole thing. But in any case, what you want to get started with some comics?
Yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's go over to the mutant corner of the Marvel universe here.
Sounds good to me. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. There we go.
Hi, so here we go.
So our typical issue with these sorts of comics, we say it all the time, it's a little bit weird, a little bit complicated, and this one fit that mold for sure. I will say I like Arcade as a villain overall, but he does make for some very interesting, complex stories. So that was the case here.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting, definitely complex. Wasn't the worst we've seen in the X universe in terms of like what's going on. I kind of got it at the end, but I don't know. It does get points for the whole Mr. Sinister like dental work thing.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Sinister after a root canal is my specific favorite character going forward. I want just after a root canal, though.
I have so many questions about his dentist.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I missed a tie-in issue where it was just Sinister at the dentist or something, but yeah, there were definitely some questions I had there.
So yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad issue, just
yeah. I agree. I mean, I did enjoy it. There were just some things that happened where I was like, wait, what is going on here? And I mean, mind games and telepathy can kind of explain away a lot of it, but it was definitely a little strange. Not a bad issue, but not my favorite this week.
But what about our other X issue, Marauders?
Yeah, this series has probably been my favorite of all of the X series of late. I mean, I love this group of characters, and this was a big issue for Storm. I mean, we know there's some big things coming up on Krakoa in the near future with the Hellfire Gala coming up, and Storm obviously is going off in a different direction from the rest of the Marauders here. So this was a cool issue. It was very intimate. It was just took these characters and let them talk about their experiences and share some really awesome Storm stories. So that was a lot of fun. I like this one a lot.
This was actually my pick of the week. You got a lot of great diversity because they all told Storm stories, but they were all in their own way. And so you would get, maybe a page of panel, small panels, but just whether it was action, whether it was sort of her personality, whether it was just using her as a concept, and I mean, if it was a TV show, it would have been a clip show, but I liked it when sometimes the X books get a little too out there and you forget that they're people, right? Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that, especially Storm, a character, I mean, she's not the most inaccessible mutant.
Right.
And so having her, and be sort of roasted in a good way, I just thought was a nice little touch before we get to the craziness of whatever the Hellfire Gala is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was interesting too that there's this such a different mix of characters that are telling these stories. So obviously, you like the relationship between Kitty Pryde and Storm is well documented at this point. They've been together, members of the X-Men for a long, long time. But then there's stories coming from Bishop, and there's stories coming from Pyro, and like so many different perspectives. So it was, while this whole issue took place in one room, you got a lot of different stories going on there. And also, I want to say this was my favorite art of the week. There was sort of this dark, stormy, on the ocean vibe to the whole thing, and the art was really spectacular.
I agree. Heading out of the X universe into Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos's Strange Academy. It's been a while since we checked into what's going on with our little school of magic yielders.
Yeah, a very Magic School Bus-esque cover here going on too. If Marauders is my favorite X series going on right now, Strange Academy might be my favorite ongoing series, period. I've kept up, like you said, it's been a while since we've talked about them here, but I've kept up with this series because it's just been so much fun. I love these characters. And it's so different. It's not your typical superhero story. It's these kids in a magic school. I mean, it's Marvel meets Harry Potter, I guess. And it's really entertaining. There's some very fun, interesting personalities in here. And this issue was just another great addition to the story.
Yeah, I think that's what's cool about it, is it's not a superhero book really, right? Because they're not necessarily heroes. They're just magic yielders. And so, they're not trying to save the world every 10 seconds. They're just trying to get through whatever, I don't know, high school, whatever this is. And so you have the interpersonal stuff. You have people with very complicated backstories, but while still being accessible. I mean, I don't mean complicated as in like you need to open up Wikipedia, but, there's a lot going on in these characters. And, this is a book I think flies under the radar because it doesn't get roped into the big crossovers or anything like that, just because it's not that kind of book. But I agree with you that it almost has like a Runaways vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's just sort of was like under the radar. I don't know how long this series is going to last, but it's going to be one of those, like, when it's collected, people are going to fall in love with it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This issue in particular also has a great twist thrown in there that I didn't see coming. And I mean, we've known about the character of Doyle for a while now, who is the son of Dormammu. And I mean, this keeps building towards something. And I'm so curious as to what the future holds for this character and this whole story, because I mean, there's obviously immense power in that character. So really curious to see where that goes. Also, we now have a new power couple name with Doyle and Emily. So I'm going with Doily. I think that's
Doily,
probably
about right. Next, back to New York City with the Amazing Spider-Man number 65, Legacy number 866. Kind of bringing the King's Ransom storyline to a head. In head of the upcoming sort of king-sized King's Ransom issue. I'm going to say I was a little disappointed in this one, in that I kind of felt like we were pedaling a little bit. Like we were looking for Boomerang, and that's just sort of happening off in the distance. Mm-hmm. I did like the stuff with Robbie and Tombstone. I did like anytime Gog shows up, I'm happy. But I just felt like for a penultimate issue, it just kind of felt like I don't know. It felt like when they used to do point issues, like kind of in between the main arcs. It just felt a little bit like that.
Well, I felt like that for the last few issues for this series, I think, because they have kind of gone off into this side story and really focused on the Robbie Robertson and Tombstone thing. And I think we did get a very satisfying conclusion to that story. Actually, I was going to say it's funny coming off of Strange Academy, which is so different for your comic book, but this one is so classic Marvel Spider-Man comic book. Just these other two characters put aside their differences, and Spider-Man comes in and inspires them to be the best they can be. And it's such a just like classic story arc. And I thought that part of it was satisfying. There's also some great stuff happening with Norman Osborn. Shady Norman is going to do some shady Norman stuff. But you're right. That main story arc that this is like this King's Ransom thing has kind of just taken a back seat to everything else happening. So that's kind of interesting. But I do like what we got from that first storyline, and then I'm really interested in to see how this is going to bridge the gap to what we know is coming with Sinister War in the near future.
Well, I guess it's just because I never really felt the Kindred storyline wrapped up in a satisfactory way. I mean, he's apprehended, but it's like, there's still more there to be told.
Oh yeah.
And it just feels like we're going on these like extra little adventures, but the main thrust of it, at least what I perceive to be the main thrust of it, is still kind of in the backseat.
Yeah, there's definitely something happening there. Like I said, Shady Norman. I don't know what's coming, but hopefully it is satisfying, because you're right. Right now it does feel like it's kind of fallen flat for a little bit after what was such a great villain for, I don't know, like a 3 or 4 issues stretch has kind of just disappeared for a little bit here. So we'll see where it goes.
In fact, we got the sort of marquee title today, Heroes Reborn #1.
Yeah, Process of Elimination. This is my pick of the week. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to be. But like you said, it is the marquee title, so probably not surprising anyone. This is my favorite one this week. I really liked it. I thought Blade is the perfect choice for the character to sort of put at the center of this. And just to explain what's going on here, Blade more or less woke up in a new world. Everything around him is completely different. The Avengers have never existed. Just looking around the cover here, Tony Stark never got hit with shrapnel. He never became Iron Man. Carol Danvers never got the rank of captain. Robbie Reyes is not the Ghost Rider. There's so many different things about this new universe here, and it was really, really interesting. I think Blade's perspective is perfect for this.
This book, this was my runner-up, but this book kind of, I didn't grab me until the stuff of Coulson, where Coulson knows what, like, he knows more than he's saying, because we get all these like pocket universes all the time, and they just sort of explain it away, and then it's just like Blade in a universe where the Avengers don't exist. Okay, I feel like I've seen that, but since the universe itself is part of the storytelling, that makes me excited. And Blade obviously is very lethal, but he's not he's not the Hulk. He's not he's in the power things. He's not an Omega level hero.
Right.
And so it's nice to see a character use his abilities appropriately, investigate, try and figure out what's going on. You're as lost as Blade is, but I'm looking forward to seeing, because it's basically one issue. They're going to do one issue of these a week, plus some tie-in issues where it's like, exploring this universe. So I look forward to seeing more when Heroes Reborn #2 is out next week.
Yeah, I mean, the ending of this issue got me really pumped up for the future of it. So, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm curious to know, too, if you I got DC vibes from this new universe. I thought that was kind of funny, the way that they did this. Like, the two main heroes are, well, the heroes are the Squadron Supreme, led by Hyperion and Nighthawk, who are very much Superman and Batman here. I thought was pretty interesting. So I like that they are doing, I mean, they're not outright saying it, but it feels a lot like it. So I thought that was really cool. And there's also just a really good mix of these new characters, or at least twists on characters, and then just old classic characters that you already know and love. There's some good ones in there. So I really like the way that they're balancing that.
And I like how they handled the exposition, in that, it wasn't all at the beginning. They kind of spread it out. They showed some were just sort of offhand comments, but you kind of get fairly quickly, you get an idea of who's where and what's going on, which is tough enough when you're creating a whole new universe and you're like, here's where all the Avengers are up to, or, what we consider the Avengers.
Right.
So I thought it was expertly handled in that way.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what happens here, because it's a very good setup for sure.
So we mentioned it a little bit at the top, but we got a special announcement from this guy. So Disney Plus has been kind of on the Friday. I mean, like May 4th or November 18th, they'll do a special dump. But they've typically released everything on Fridays, which is kind of funny because originally I thought like, oh, we'll get something new every day, and then it was all Fridays, and then now it looks like they might be trying to challenge that a little bit with Loki being released on Wednesday. Wednesday actually named after his father Odin, which Asad Ayaz from Disney Marketing thankfully tweeted out to explain to me. But yeah, and then because you watched the Marvel basketball game on Monday, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And did they have the old release date?
They did, yeah. But now they have, since they released that special look today with the new release date on there. So yeah, it was interesting. Leave it to the God of Mischief to mess with everyone's schedule, right?
And I'm actually happy because as Disney Plus ramps up its content, it's a lot. If you want to watch everything, it's a lot to get through on a Friday. Yeah, sure. And with Bad Batch continuing through the start of Loki, those are both shows you don't want spoiled for you. But you only have so much time Friday morning before work. So it's nice that they're going to give us a little bit of time because I'm still watching Big Shot and Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Series. So.
And not to mention, this is going to run into Black Widow as well. At least we assume. So, yeah, that also frees that day up for that as well. And I'm curious to know, is that going to be a strategy for Marvel things going forward? Because we know we have plenty of other Marvel movies coming out later this year. So, it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Okay. Speaking of Marvel Studios. They basically on the anniversary, I guess this would be the second anniversary of Endgame.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
They released a set kind of like a, I don't know what you call it, like a sizzle reel, I guess.
Yeah.
Featuring Stan Lee, talking about heroes and stuff. And so we got some news out of that. We got a first look at Eternals, which looks like the Eternals. So, I don't know if there's much to say about that. But we did get some news in addition to some other, they reiterated some release dates and some titles we knew about. But first we got is Black Panther Wakanda Forever, still coming out July 8th, 2022. Obviously, with the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa, is gone as far as we imagine. So kind of, I think, focusing on the world of Wakanda, which will also be getting its own Disney Plus series. So I'm curious to see how they balance all that out.
Yeah, I think that movie, more so than anything else on the slate, is the one that is the biggest question mark to me. I just have no idea what to expect from this movie.
Then we've got the former Captain Marvel 2 is now The Marvels, implying Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau will kind of come together for a quasi team up.
Yeah, I love the way that they kind of work their logos into that. That is so cool. And that was the moment in this this whole video where that title came up, and I was excited. I screamed with excitement. Probably scared my wife a little bit. Yeah, I was really happy. Especially, I know this doesn't connect to what we just read last week, but the timing of that just seems so funny to me.
Yeah. And then we got release dates: Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, February 17th, 2023. Probably my most excited, I think, of the phase thus far.
That's officially been announced, you mean?
Well, we knew the title, but the date, you could put two and two together. But
I feel like there's something else on this slate that it's not officially there yet. But I feel like there's something else that's.
Oh yeah, no, it's been announced, but that we have like a date and yes. Right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, probably not the world's biggest surprise, May 5th, 2023, and then it ends with a tease of Fantastic Four, which we knew of, but
right. I thought so cool, my heart stopped for a second there. I thought we were getting something on Fantastic Four when that logo came up. But it's clever that they're using this too as like, this is phase 4. So it's just like, oh, here's our phase 4 logo. Like, no, we know what it is.
You know how they sort of retroactively called the first three phases the Infinity Saga?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Disney Plus is empowering them to kind of tell more unified stories because I mean they're still diverse, but back when in the first three phases are always like, we're gonna make this movie and make it good. Anything interconnected is kind of extra. I think they're kind of giving the ghost up on that. I mean, there's WandaVision obviously led into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I don't want to spoil anything going on in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but that obviously leads into other things. Almost to a point where it feels a little unfulfilling. But
I mean, I think that reflects the comics well. I think we've just reached a point where this universe is so full now that it can't be unconnected from everything else because there's just so much going on, so many characters and so many stories happening all at once.
And leave it to Kevin Feige to kind of masterfully, because you always have that question when you make a comic book movie. It's like, well, why don't you just call the Avengers? And you kind of have to answer that to a point every time, right? And knowing where everyone is, figuring out who should be where is interesting. I read Chris Rax, who helps us out every once in a while, was talking about how there's the little touches that play off each other, in the films, like when Janet chid Scott for calling him Cap, but then Janet calls him Cap later on.
Yeah.
There's Jimmy Woo and the card trick. Those little touches that kind of go through. It's not necessarily a big deal. You don't need to know. Your casual fan can still enjoy it, but it's neat to see them use those winks and nods. Are fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we just broke down all the noise or all the news from this video, but watch it if you haven't watched it yet, because after watching that thing, I felt like I could run through a wall. It was amazing. I had chills the entire time, especially when they're showing the fan reactions to Endgame in the theater. That was amazing.
Yeah, and in a way too, this was done as like a go back to movie theater thing.
Yeah.
I of course watched it without sound at 6 a.m. in bed, just to for coverage reasons. But I went back and watched it. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do we got next? This man, Killian Scott, joining Secret Invasion.
And I don't know a ton about this actor, but I'm just thrilled to see this cast grow more and more. And it seems like, people are excited about the talent that they are assembling for this show. I'm so interested into the direction that they're going with this because, I mean, who knows? And even when we know when somebody's playing a character, we don't know if that's really the character. There's Skrulls. Everybody is somebody else. I'm going to have so many questions about this series until I finish watching it. And
especially Secret Invasion too. Like, I mean, they've played with us with like changing trailers around and stuff to kind of mess with us. But with Secret Invasion, that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. So. I can't wait because I don't think a lot of fans of the MCU are ready for how much is going to change with this show. And I think people are underestimating the amount of potential shocking moments that this show can give us and what it can branch off into. It might not even just be this show.
Speaking of throwing us for a loop, we had a little drama with Quicksilver earlier this year, but Hasbro is making a Pietro from Age of Ultron figure. There he is. There he is running, doing the Disney point for some reason.
Yeah, this is a really cool figure. I mean, the look is taken just right out of the movie. I love the Ultron props that he comes with too. I mean, you can kind of pose him with just those scenes where he explodes through the Ultron bots. You can kind of pose that. I thought that was really cool. And there you go, right there, the Infinity Saga on the box art there. I thought that was pretty interesting as well. Interesting too, just in general, that they're going back to something like Age of Ultron and releasing figures from this now.
And Disneyland reopened. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, over here in Florida, it's been hard to keep track of everything that's happening over there. But yeah, I heard a theme park reopened.
So we'll start small, go big. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has a new photo op with the Captain America wings. I don't know what his couple name is, I guess, whatever you call it. But there he is. There he is. So you can, obviously these things are all distant, so the character's not there. Also, if you have the Disney Movie Insiders app, you can do an AR experience. But it's just cool to see that. Such a great mixture of the comic book look and, sort of a real world MCU aesthetic. So it's cool.
Yeah, very cool photo op. It's interesting to me that they have just adopted this, like, you know what, you've watched the show by now. Spoilers don't matter anymore. Here's this photo op. I mean, I'm all for it because I am watching this thing first thing every morning it comes out. But I'm curious to know what some other fan reactions have been like.
I gotta say though, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, when Disneyland opened up, that was a week after the finale, right? So that was, that makes sense. That's a fair window, I think.
And then we got some sneak peeks of Avengers Campus. You actually did a great piece on the Kirby Crackle they added to Mission Breakout. But here is some new images. You get Stark Motors, which is kind of the connective tissue between Cars Land and Avengers Campus.
Yeah, they also added an acronym for me to just completely forget every time I talk about it now. So it's not just campus, but it's CAMPUS. It actually stands for something that I can't remember right now.
Centralized Assembly, mobilized to prepare, unite, and safeguard.
There you
go. Typical Marvel fashion. So you got the Web Engineering Brigade, which is taking the old Stark Factory and Spider-Maning it up. If you saw the end of Disney XD Spider-Man series, you'll kind of get that gist.
Just started that today, so I'm excited to get to
that. You got the sodas in Pym's Test Kitchen.
That's one of my
giant sodas for feeding, I guess, the beverage stations.
Right. That is really cool. I can't wait to see Pym Test Kitchen and the Pym Tasting Lab. There's some really awesome stuff happening there.
Terran Treats, which is over by Mission Breakout, is there now, and you can see what they've done to Mission Breakout during the closure. And then there's the money shot, right? The Quinjet in front of Mission Breakout. So that, this is supposedly where the next attraction will be eventually, whenever that happens. But the Spider-Man attraction will be on the left side, and this will be on the right.
Yeah, which I thought that is interesting because I don't know how much more work they have to do there still, but it doesn't look like there's much for an attraction right there. Maybe I'm just missing something from the angle, but
I think you missed that they can build a show building behind it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are they that we're that far off from the next attraction? Like they have the whole big structure to build still, but
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is not close.
Got it.
So I feel like, I know we have there's some prose books coming out and whatever, but I feel like this is how we end.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. So,
we do want to announce that we kicked off today our Countdown to Avengers Campus series. So it'll be a mixture of different things, including deep dives by Mack, updates from Mike Celestino, news and information from Disney about Avengers Campus. So we're going to kick that off. We kicked that off today, where we got about a month to go before it opens. And then as soon as they allow California residents, I'm sure Mac will be on a plane. Getting excited to get.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited just to even see Mike C's coverage in there and a live walk around that I'm sure we'll be doing as soon as possible. And I'm so excited to see what this whole land entails. And then of course, getting out there myself and eating everything at the Pym Test Kitchen. I can't wait for that. Really looking forward to it.
Great. So with that, we will be back soon. Every day, as I said, we'll have Adventures Campus coming, and then we're kind of in that little bit of the lull in terms of MCU stuff, but lots of great comics. Where we got Heroes Reborn going and Hellfire Club count 10 down to next month. So if I remembered, I actually got an invite in the mail to the Hellfire Gala. So
yeah,
you can find
that's
that
exciting. That's really cool.
Anyway, thanks so much, Mac.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right.